Hello guys, welcome to the world of Java. My name is Neha and this channel is to make Java a very easy and understandable language so that anybody and everybody can code easily in Java. So in our last video we have discussed about what is API, what is REST, fundamentals of REST and so on. So if you guys have missed that video, I request you to please go through it once. I have provided the link in the description box. Okay, so today this video is the continuation part of our last video where we have discussed the fundamental of REST, and in this video we will discuss about the request and response for REST APIs. Okay, so what we cover today is we'll cover the request structure, the response structure, the query parameters, what are path parameters, then from now onward we will start the practical implementation for RESTful API. So we'll create a small application for REST and we will test it with Postman. Okay, so excited? Let's continue. So this is your request structure. So any request and any response in any API is having two parts, the basic two parts. Okay, what are those? One is header, okay, and another is your payload or the body. Okay, so if we talk about request, then in request we call it the request header and the request body or payload. Okay, if it is response, we'll call it response header and the response body. Okay, so correspondingly we just change the name initial, but the basic two part are the categorization is same for request and response. Okay, and this main path, this main one, this is the your URI, right, where we have the address of that remote server. Okay, so in header, you have seen these except encoding, content type, content length, host, all attributes are there. So those attributes have some specific information or the specific value which give you information about that particular request or response. So for any developer, it is important to know few important attributes of your header itself and response also, response headers also. Okay, so if I have to summarize my header, the header parameters, so this will be the important one. So first is important one is your authorization. So this authorization header, it is used when you have to request a restricted resource. So for example, if I need any credit card information, right, so information regarding a particular credit card, so for that I can hit the credit card database or the server where it expose those credit card information, right, and I can hit the request over there. Okay, but since credit card information is very restricted resource, so I cannot, anybody or anyone cannot directly hit it or access it. The person who are authorized, okay, so who are validated by that remote server only have right to access that. Okay, so how I can tell the remote server that I am an authorized user? So that remote server have given me some token or bearer code or any certain information, okay, through which I identify as an authenticated user. Okay, so that information, that token will pass in this authorization header. Okay, so authorization and authentication is very important in REST APIs, which we will discuss in our further videos. But for now, it is used to request a restricted resource. Then we have accept. Accept is the format in which response will be written. Okay, so I hit the remote server and I get response in JSON formats. Then the value would be application slash JSON. But if I am getting the XAML information as a response, so the value would be application slash XML. Okay, then we have content type. So content type is what the format in which my request body will be sent, right? So suppose my request body is having data in a JSON form, so value would be JSON. application slash JSON. If it is in XML form, then application slash XML. Okay, then we have host and content length. So host is simply indicate the host name corresponding to the endpoint. Okay, and content length is what, like it indicates the byte which is contained in the body. Okay, the byte of data. Okay, then the next part is, first is header. Header is having all these attributes. Then we have the payload or request body. So the body can be in JSON format or XML format. Okay, so these are two categorization of request. Okay, so now we move to response structure. So what is response structure? Like what all headers are there in response, which are important, which one should know. Okay, so we'll cover all this here. So the first part is up to from the date till this content type. That this part is response header, and the lower one, the JSON format part, is your response body. Okay, so the first line you are seeing here is HTTP slash version and then the status code, right? This is actually not the header part, but it always, you know, you always get this information. This is also known as your, sometime it is known as your status line or likewise, right? So, this just to tell you, like what is the status code you have got in response. Okay. Now, another important attribute. So, we'll discuss here one by one. So, first is your status line. I just described status line is what your the HTTP version, the protocol version, and then your status code. So, this is technically not header, but it's usually the first line of your response. Okay, if you get 200, okay, that means your request is successful and you got a successful response from your remote server. Okay, then your date indicates that the date and time when you get the response, right? Then server, that is this specify the information about the web server, software running on that server, right? From where you get the response. Then content type. So content type is again, it could be your it's a media type, like of the response body. Okay, so if you content type is text slash HTML, that means you are getting HTML data. Application slash JSON, that means JSON data. Application slash XML means XML data. So content type always help a client to understand how to interpret the data which you get from the remote server. Okay, so next is your content length. So content length is again same, the size of response body in bytes. Okay, like in response, sorry, request, you have the content length in response as well. Okay, and then cache control. So cache control means ki how response should be cached and for how long, right? So sometime we said no cache, that means I don't want to cache my response, right? Sometime we set it to some age means the 30, if I set it like max age is equal to 3600, that means it cached up to 3600 seconds. Okay, so when we talk about REST APIs, we says RESTful services are not cached. Okay, not cached on the server, but at client side we can cache it. Okay, so we can set the value from here. Now, content encoding. Encoding is like the apply to the response body, just such as uh, zip, for compression, like I want to get the compressed data or use data I want to get in the compressed form, then I can set the content encoding as JZip. Location is again the used in case of redirection. Okay, so to just to indicate the new URL. Suppose you hit a request and you get a response saying that it need the response further need redirections. For that kind of scenario, you can use location over here. So usually in this case, you get status code in a range of 300 series. Then set cookies. So cookies again, cookies on the client side for session management and other purpose. So you want to set it or not, that depends on your business requirement. Then last modify, the indicates the time when resource was last modified, right? So I am getting some resource from remote server when that response was resource was last modified. That is the value of this. Then authenticate, used in response with a when you get a status code as 400 series. So 400 series usually indicates the authorization issues, right? And if I get this response, that means I need some authentication mechanism to access that information on that server. Okay, so this is for that. Then we have access control, allow origin. It is a part of your cross origin resource sharing, like codes. Okay, it specifies which origin are permitted to access the resource, like from which origin or which sites you can access that resource. So we can uh, put it over here. So these are all the parts of your response header. Now, after discussing request and response, those are very important. Like in any API, you have the request and response. Now, another important is the URI. So in URI, we usually send parameters. Okay, so to filter out the information, like uh, I want to filter the employee information based on employee ID. Okay, so suppose the remote server is having 1,000 employees over there, and I want to filter only employees whose location are Noida. Okay, so in that URI, I can pass the query parameter location equals to Noida. So it filter out the whole information in the remote server on the basis of location. So we can do that with the help of query parameters. Okay, so query parameters include in the URL after a question mark sign. Okay, and it is separated by ampersands, like if I have more than one parameters, right? So I want to filter on the basis of age and location. So I can set age equals to some 30 year, ampersand location equals to Noida. So to separate it out. Okay, so they are commonly we use query parameter with get request, because get is the HTTP method which we use to fetch the request. And usually while fetching request, we need filtration. Okay, like we can need the pagination or sort or filter, all these things we require usually with get request. For example, in this this is the URL of a get request. Here we have the resource is my product, and the category equals to electronic, sort equals to price, price ascending, and the page equals to 1. So that these are all your query parameters: the category, the sort, the page. Okay, so you can get the filtered data on the base of these query parameters. Okay, now another important parameter is your path parameter. So path parameter also we include in the URL path itself. Okay, but they are used or indicated by using the curly braces. Okay. Now, for example, this is a get request. Here we have users is my resource, and then I am passing the user ID. So there is a difference. See, in your query parameters, you pass the parameter name and value, but in path parameter, you directly provide the value. So that is the main difference. Another difference obviously is the implementation or how we used it. Okay, here user ID is the path parameter that would be replaced with an actual ID when you're making the request. Like I want to filter user with ID 101. So I'll say API slash user slash 101. So that would be my URL. Okay, so these are everything about your request, response, and two important parameters. Okay, so from today onward, we'll start doing the practical implementation of RESTful services also. We'll create a small application using Spring Boot. Okay, so Spring has given us a very simple platform through which we can directly create any Spring application. This is Spring Initializer. Okay, so Initializer is a the app through which we can easily create our Spring Boot application. Okay, so for our example, let's create one Spring Boot application. Here I am putting world of uh, Java, and here we can say artifact is uh, your REST API application. Okay, so for our we can do this, and again this is language is Java, and the project is the Maven project I want to create. I don't want to use the Gradle, so you can use Gradle also. So I am using Maven over here. So version of boot is your 3.1. Okay, I need a packaging, like I just create a jar of it, then we will extract it and import it to our Spring Boot or STS. Okay, so dependency is only important dependency for creating REST is web. So you can Spring Web, you can include it. REST you don't require. If you have to create a JP application, then you can add JP dependency also. Or if you have the uh, another security, you can include security over here. So likewise you can add dependency, then we'll say generate. And also one important term over here is Java version you can specify. So for our reference I have used 17. You can make anything, any 8, 11, anyone. So we'll say generate. Okay, so it will just create a jar. Okay, the initial packaging for my Spring Boot application. Now we go to download. uh, in downloads we must be having, see, REST API application, right? We just extract it. Okay, we say extract all, and we will say extract it over here itself. Okay, so see, this application get extracted over here. Okay, this REST API application. Now we'll open our STS. Okay, now we just go to our STS. We open our STS for Spring Boot project to import this ZAR file. We'll do that. Okay, and okay, so this is our Spring Boot, and we said launch it, and this take few seconds to get launched. Okay, and okay, it is taking some time. um, okay, so when it will started, your STS will start. So the unzipped jar which we have just uh, created, so we will import that. So this is your initial Spring STS. So here I am using STS 4. So you can easily import it, import, and then we will go, because since it's a Maven project, we'll say Maven existing project, because we have created the initial structure of it. So we will say next, and here we can mention the path of our downloaded one, where we have extracted that jar. See this application, we select it and done, and we can say finish. Okay, so Spring Initializer is very easy platform through which we can create the initial structure of our Spring Boot application. Okay, so here you must be seeing it is building the application, and once it build, it will import the structure, the full structure of it. Okay, see here it is done. So this is our main main folder, and this is our Spring Boot mail file through which we just run the application. Okay, so for our application we will do nothing fancy. I just, what we will do, I'll copy and paste this folder structure itself, and here I will say controller. Okay, and inside that controller the default file would be the same one because we have just copy pasted. So we have to change it. So here we will say is hello world. Okay, app, here world controller, because since this is a controller, controller. Okay, and I we don't need this main method over here. Okay, and here annotation also we just need at the rate your rest controller. Okay, so we say rest, and it will show you the annotation over here. Okay, rest is there, and I'll say rest controller. Okay, so this is my rest controller, and this is the public class I have created. See why it is giving me error, because this name is different and this name is different. So we just change it first. Okay, let's do it. We rename it. Okay, so now it will be perfect. Now we create a simple get request. Okay, so here we say at the rate uh, get mapping. Okay, so we have this get mapping. Okay, and inside that I'll just pass any URI you want to put. I'll say hello, and then I will just create one method which just return me some string. So I will say public string, and say hello is my method. Okay, and this method, what is this method is doing? It is returning me some value. I'll say hello Sneha. Okay, so this is all we need. Okay, there is error string. Okay, so this is done. So I think slash I have provided wrong way. No, it is there. Okay, so one error we are getting. Rest is fine. Uh, okay, so maybe it is value equals to something. Maybe I'm not providing the right attribute. Ah, yes, now it is gone. Okay, unused variable we can remove. Okay, now it is done. See how simple it is. I just have this initial class which we get created through our Spring Initializer simple class, which is having this main method, and only one controller we have made, and that controller is having only get method. Okay, and this is the method name, and this is the URI of it. When I click on hello, this method get executed and it will return hello Sneha. Now, how to compile it? You can easily compile it. You just click on your application and right click on it, and you can say run as Maven install. You can easily compile your project. Then we'll start our Spring Boot server. So the default server for your boot application is Tomcat. Okay, so that server will be started, and this application which automatically deploy on it, and we just need to hit it on Postman or any browser, and we can see the output. Okay, so it's just so simple. Okay, so that is done, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, this is done, and this is started also. Okay, your boot your server is getting started. Okay, so build is successful. Okay, now we can start our server. So we can start it from anywhere, from here also, or you can have this main class REST API application. If you right click on it and you say run, so Spring Boot app, yeah, this is directly. Or you can directly run it from here also. These are the tools, the shortcut one. So from here also you can start. So you can start and you serve and close or stop your server from here also, or from your right click, or run or stop it from here also. So I think this gets started. See here, we are getting this thing. It is started in 5.92 seconds. Okay, so now application is started. Let's test this. So what would be the URL of it? Okay, so here the URL would be we have sent hello. Okay, and we don't have to pass anything. So simple. So localhost colon 8080. Why 8080? Because the default code for your Tomcat is 8080, and then hello is the URL you have set. And now click on it. And yes, you get hello Sneha. Why Sneha? Because here we have said it like this. So hello Sneha. So simple. Okay, so we run it, we check it. Now we'll just twist it with we have learned about the query parameter. So we send the query parameter and we change the name dynamically. Here we have made the Sneha name static. Every time I'll hit hello, it will display hello Sneha. But if I want to send name and want to change the name dynamically, okay, so how we can do that? So that is also very simple. Here we can add a request parameter we just discussed. Okay, so we will say request param. Okay, and we can just simple string, and here I pass the name of my variable is name, and in request parameter I can say uh, I can pass the default value also, the value of my parameter, it is name. Okay, and suppose if you don't pass anything and I want something default to be displayed, so default value would be the world, hello world, it will display. Okay, so FAULT something is there. Acha, default value I think so. Okay, now it's all. Okay, so now how we changed it, I will say hello plus the name variable. Okay, so name is my query parameter which we will send through our URL. Okay, and according to name I send in my URL, it will display it. So simple, right? Now stop the server for some time. Now we compile it first. Okay, let's compile it, run, and Maven install. So it will compile my new code. So sometime we have um, um, a hot way, like through which our changes is easily display on that server. Sometimes that also happen, but here we are doing it from step to step. So that's why I'm saying whenever you do any changes to your Spring Boot application, stop your server, then compile your code again, and then you can start your server. So this is the always the right way to do the things. Okay, now build successful. Now I can start my server. I can say start it from here. See, now directly from my toolbar I am starting my application. Okay, so this time we will just change a URL a bit and it will do the magic. So this is started. Now we go to here, and here I have created a variable called name and I pass a value, suppose Anil. Okay, and I'll say send. See, here the output is hello Anil. So now the output is not static one. It's not saying always Sneha. It is if I pass anything else, Alex. Okay, and then again I said, so it will show me hello Alex. So You just see how simple it is to send your parameter through your application. Okay, so that is it for today. We have covered request, response, query parameter, and also see a simple application. It is so simple to create any application in boot and get it executed within minutes. So hope you guys understand these concepts, and in our upcoming video we will discuss about all the HTTP methods and again the practical implementation of it, because without practical theory is nothing. Okay, so hope you guys understand it. Stay tuned for my upcoming videos. Bye bye, take care.